day to one and all. Welcome and welcome back to yet another episode of Sometimes the Old Man is Right. As usual, I am your host, Lamont Ferguson, playing the role of the old man. Old man out on the road, back to work. That's what I am. Doing this particular episode from a lovely hotel in downtown historic Ogden, Utah. Got in last night, one more show tonight, and then I'm out at an ungodly hour. I think I got to leave the hotel at 2:30 in the morning to go return the rental car to get to the airport in Salt Lake City for a 5:20 flight. So this is not going to be any joy. There'll be no joy in Mudsville at all. And after this, get on the flight, go to Denver, Salt Lake City to Denver, Denver to Vancouver, where after going through all the protocol there, hop onto a ship, the New Amsterdam, back on the home line, Holland, America, for a couple of weeks. Vancouver to Alaska. Whittier, Alaska is the final point. It's all the other places in between that are the tried and true hits. Juneau, Ketchikan, Skagway. Long days in Skagway. It's always at least 13 hours in Skagway. Hopefully, the crew will be playing basketball at the gym in Skagway, and I will go and hit that gym. That'll be nice. I'm not sure how the weather's going to be for pickleball, because I've checked the weather, and it looks like we get a little rain, but that's what happens during this time in Alaska, so I'm not sure how much pickleball will be played. But after that, I come home for a couple of weeks. There's a big, when I come home, I'm very excited about it. I'll tell you a little bit about it later, but I'm going to be making a home appearance at the San Diego County Fair. So I'll talk about that at the end of the podcast to kind of pump that up and plug it, but that'll be exciting. And then home for a couple of weeks before the crazy part of the schedule takes place, where I'm gone from July 1st till September 11th. I don't know what's going to happen after that. I have no idea what is going to happen after that, but it may be retirement, or I may end up in Arkham Asylum. I'm not sure, but stay tuned. We'll see what happens. Hopefully a lot of work will get done. A lot of writing will get done. I'll be able to, set the discipline and get the writing done and get a lot of pickleball in and get rid of this ridiculous pandemic weight that I've added and not been able to shake in any measurable capacity. So hopefully that's what'll take place. Anyway, I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. It has it's been a decent amount of time away. Like I said, I was a week and a day late getting back, but that's progress. How you doing? How you been? What's the good word? This is episode 27. If you want to break it down, it's season 2, episode 3. That's if you really want to be particular about it. If you're into one of those sticklers that likes to, what's that lady that puts things in its place? The Maria Condit? I don't know her name. But if you need to put it in a place, it's season 2, episode 3. I hope you're well. I'm all right. I told you what I'm looking forward to. I told you what's on the docket. Other than that, I'm well. I've returned from the cabin retreat, and that was very nice. I would say it was relaxing, and there were parts of it that were relaxing, but it is a lot of work. When you get family together and you're kind of responsible for putting things together, you want to make sure that everybody's taken care of and food is prepared and everybody can relax. So I'm hoping it was a relaxing time for everyone. It was very nice to see everyone. There was just a few components that were missing, but for the most part, we had a good turnout and a lot of folks were there and we had fun. And guess what? Oh yeah, you know it. I introduced them to pickleball. Oh my goodness. The sons, Alex and Noah, pickleball players. My sister Monique out there doing the pickleball. My niece Monet, the very reluctant niece, Tiara, was she didn't want to be any part of the pickleball. And who else was out? My cousin Darren and my brother-in-law Kazi. So we were all out there. It was a good time, nice, fun time on the pickleball courts. I got some decent pickleball courts there up in Big Bear. And there was food like crazy. So it's very nice. I got everything all set to do it again next year. Like I said, there were just a few components that were missing. One of my sisters, her 2 kids, and my oldest daughter, Sydney. So I think those were the main elements that were missing. So not bad. Not a bad turnout at all. Other than that, in the world, just trying to get used to everything. We still got the coronavirus. That's still a thing, right? Monkeypox. I keep seeing more things about this monkeypox, which I guess in a world where you need news all the time, then you might as well just keep running all the news that comes by. Because 40 years ago, a lot of this wouldn't have been news. That we had 2 cases of monkeypox, and then all of a sudden, how do you avoid monkeypox? Is monkeypox near you? What's going to happen with monkeypox? It's like, okay, I know, I get it. We need to keep feeding this beast. Which, is anyone going to take the time to take a look back and go, man, we have made a lot of poor mistakes along the way of thinking things were getting better. A 24-hour news cycle? Yeah, that wasn't. Turns out, horrible idea. Social media, getting in contact? Turns out, another horrific idea. It's an idea that, both are ideas that we had that we didn't realize that maybe we should tinker with them, fine-tune them, because we just let it out of the box and go, well, there it is, and there's no reining it in. And you can't get the water back into the faucet, for crying out loud, but this is where we are. And no one had the foresight to say, hey, maybe we should do this or maybe we should do that. And you just kind of let it go. And this is where we sit. Now we're bombarded every day in my news feed about monkeypox when I believe there were only 2 cases of monkeypox. Coronavirus still a thing, but moved to the back pages because, well, monkeypox is sexier. Let's be truthful. You know how crazy the news cycle is? They keep crowbarring in that UFOs are real and nobody cares. How is that nobody cares that UFOs are real? This was, I don't know, what was this, like 3 years ago that they kind of started leaking out that UFOs were real? But we had a pandemic and people were like, yeah, we don't really care about UFOs being real because we got to stay in the house and we don't know what's going on because they shut the world down. And then recently, like about a month ago, members of the Pentagon went in front of cameras and microphones and admitted, yeah, we don't know what they are. We don't know what's going on. Yes, it's real. And people still went, But gas prices, man, they're $6 a gallon out here in California. And see, the priorities are weird. So I guess in 5 years when the UFOs show up, after we get our crap together and they finally show up, then there'll be a bunch of hoopla and a bunch of people going, why didn't they tell us? And they're like, hey, man, we tried to tell you. Many times we tried to tell you. And you wouldn't listen. And we got that. We got UFOs, gas prices, monkeypox, coronavirus, the mass shootings. Good grief. These things and the debate over the mass shootings, which I don't want to get into the whole politics of everything, but we've got to look at this and just go, how did we fail children. That's really the bottom line, is how did we fail children? Look, I know that the Greta Thunberg sits there and cries about how global warming is doing stuff. And I believe in global warming. I'm not one of these deniers about it. I do believe that things are changing and stuff like that. But I was going to say she's 12, but I don't think she's 12. I think she's older than 12. But for her to sit around and just yelling the how dare you and all this other stuff. Greta, look, I get the global warming thing, but for me, the more pressing issue is that children have active shooter drills. And I know she's not American, but to me, that's the biggest failure as far as what I can look at, is that it is the fact that this is a thing. An active shooter drill is a thing that we have to deal with in America. It's a thing that the children have to do. And I know this is going to be an old man. Set the old man alert. Morty, that's my producer, Morty. It's the guy that used to produce for Letterman, who I believe has passed away. Rest in peace, Morty. We had, what did we have? We had the earthquake drill. We had a fire drill. That was it. I mean, and those were pretty scary in essence, as they were, the earthquake drill and the fire drill. But I can't imagine the active shooter drill, and that's even been added to it. I mean, do they even do the earthquake drill anymore? Does that really been bumped out of the rotation? I would imagine it would be. Hey, just kids, if there's an earthquake, get under a table, as opposed to doing a drill. But the active shooter drill, now that's something that actually could happen. And we don't know necessarily when. It is like the earthquake drill. We don't know when it could happen, but we're telling you that there's a high possibility that it could happen. That's where I believe, as a society, we failed the children. That, if you want to, because you know how I feel about the people putting the whole, this is about the children, and they'd never really mean it. It's just a way to get your point out there and get people going, oh, okay, we'll listen to you because they put the children. But meanwhile, they don't give a damn about children. But this one is about the children, because there's no way possible that any kid should have to be growing up with this idea that someone could walk in and start shooting the school. And it is a thing where there's no personal beef. I will tell you that there was a shooting at my school, at my high school, long after I had gone to school. Actually, maybe not that long after I had gone to school, but, after I was in school. And I believe that kid had an actual beef with something about that school. What's happening now with this elementary school stuff is that there's no beef. There's no agenda against that school or those kids or anything. They're just like, hey, I would like to commit the most heinous act possible, which is going in and shooting defenseless children. And I know people keep pointing to its mental health. It's more than mental health, but it's not. The way people look at it is it's one person with a mental health issue, as opposed to saying, no, it's an entire country with a mental health issue. It's an entire country of a mental health issue that, one, doesn't really give a damn much about mental health because everybody's fine. And it's an ego thing. It's the whole, I may have talked about this before, or I've gone over it in my head many times, where it's the American bravado. We are the best. There's nothing wrong with us. Sure, we have made some mistakes in the past, but that's the past. Do we apologize for them? I guess. Not an apology, just those were the times, I guess. But look at it now. Things are better. Not by much, but still better. It's that type of thing. America's a teenager. America is a teenager in the grand scale of civilization. As a society, we're a teenager. Let me know when you hear a teenager immediately apologize. Let me know when you know that a teenager is like so self-aware that goes, oh, that was kind of screwed up. I'm sorry. That doesn't happen. Teenagers right no matter what, and they will go down fighting as being right until they get older. And then they'll look back and go, yeah, that was kind of messed up. Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes there. That was kind of bad. That's when it happens. So this idea that it's a singular mental health issue is garbage. This is a America mental health issue. We're not all right. We have made mistakes. We've made some very egregious mistakes. And what we should do as a society is apologize for those mistakes and try to fix them. This gun thing, no, you don't need an assault rifle to go hunting, nor do you need it for protection against a government that has way more weapons than you do, that has a higher caliber of weapons than you do. If the government, even if in some sort of tyrannical way, the government wanted something from yours, guess what? They're going to take it because you don't have the firepower. I don't care how many weapons you amass, how much you think you're protecting, they will take it, and that'll be that. You want to prevent the tyrannical government? Then elect officials that are not in the pockets of lobbyists. Even though I know that's impossible because of the fact that that's how the political system works. But you got to have hope and a belief that there's some sort of altruistic way that people who get into office do want to make things better for other people. And we are the people, so we're the ones that control all of that. Term limits, there's so many things you could do, as opposed to stockpiling weapons and sitting around banging a drum for why you need to have an assault rifle or that this is your right to have a gun. It's amazing where the rights line is drawn. I have a right to have a gun. Okay, why? I have a right to have a gun and I want no part of a gun. As a matter of fact, if somebody took away my right to have a gun, it would not affect my life at all. At all. I've always thought this. I understand what America is about. I understand the ideal of America. I know it's the home of the brave and land of the free, but we are still humans, and humans have incredible flaws. Incredible flaws. And the way that you access those flaws or activate those flaws is by giving them unlimited rights. And that's what America is. It is pretty much as close to anywhere on the face of this earth, an unlimited rights society. And you will activate every flaw in a human being by giving them unlimited rights. That's where we are now. That's what happens when you do this. I'm not for communism. I'm not for socialism, although some aspects of socialism are good. But when you go unlimited, this is what you end up with. Absolute freedoms, you end up with absolute idiots wanting to be free in any manner possible. So now we just ride out this wave. We ride out the wave to hope that it corrects it and figure out how it's going to be. But every person here owes every child since Columbine an apology. Every adult. I'm sorry we didn't work hard enough for you. I'm sorry there were idiots that were busy telling kids that were, telling kids. I got choked up because of I didn't know how to swallow, not because of emotional, although it could be emotional. But every idiot that was telling those kids that were testifying in Congress about what should be done about guns and just shouted them down and saying, "You're children, you don't know any better." Okay, because they were none of your children that got shot. I can't imagine, and I've got, Olivia in school, but I can't imagine being a parent, but I can't imagine being a kid. that type of fear of being a kid, of thinking that's a thing that's going to possibly happen. Because we had simple fears as kids. My fear was quicksand, which was never going to happen. And I think the biggest fear of an outsider was kidnapping. Like there was the whole idea of there's a guy in a van that's kidnapping kids. That, I don't know if that guy in the van that was kidnapping kids just elevated and leveled up to going in and shooting kids. But that was the fear that I remember in elementary school, was there was a guy in a van that was kidnapping kids. Stay away from a van, look out for vans, look out for things, and, don't take candy from strangers. It's that type of deal. Those were simple. Good Lord, those were a simpler time than what a kid has to deal with today. And I, for one, as an adult, as a man that's towards the tail end of the ride, I apologize to each and every one of you kids, because it's horrible and it sucks and you shouldn't have to deal with it. All those people that talk about how they got to keep the guns and stuff like that, they're also the same people that talk about the good old days. Well, how can you say keep the guns in the good old days when you see what's going on? It doesn't make any sense. And inconsistency is one of the biggest problems that I have with anything that takes place, because of the fact that it's all got to make sense, for crying out loud. All right. That was that rant. That wasn't funny, but I think it needed to be said. I don't know what it's going to accomplish, but it's out there. Let's switch gears, shall we? Talking about old people, this is a thing I thought about old people, is the fact that I was doing laundry and a guy came over to me and he said, it all ties in. So there was another story on the news about a shooting, and this guy says, this is happening every single day now. And the problem is this. One thing I found about old people is they love doing a couple of things. One, they love offering solutions, which makes me now believe as to why old people are the ones who run government. Because I used to talk about saying that that's the only place where we give old people that type of power is in running government. But outside of there, we don't listen to them. We kind of, that's the whole thing. That's the whole idea about this podcast, is that we don't listen to old people. Yet the one place we do is we give them power in government, which makes no sense, because a lot of the people in government are out of touch. They're out of touch for two reasons. One, they're old, and they're not regular people, because they're government officials, so they don't live regular lives. At one point they did, but that's when their life experience stopped. That's why when you hear a lot of the old people talk, like, when I was a kid, you get shoelaces for a nickel. And you're like, wait a minute, dude. Who's buying shoelaces, okay? First of all. And second of all, that has nothing to do with today's problems at all. So but old people love giving you solutions. And that's probably why they're in government, because they go, hey, I got a solution. A lot of it has to do with they've seen a lot of life. They've experienced life. So they go, well, I've got more information than young people do because I've seen more things. So then they offer up their solution. But this guy, he goes, yeah, you got to watch out for the second look. I said, what? He goes, the second look. Like the first look, they look at you, that's fine. But if you turn around and they're still looking at you, then you may have to change your plans because that person's up to something. And I thought, well, aren't you also giving the second look by turning around? I mean, I didn't tell him that, but that is what my thought is. You both gave second looks. I don't know how you would gauge when one gave a second look and the other didn't give a second look without giving a second look. But the other thing that old people like to do is give their age. It's very funny that they always tell their age. He's like, look, I'm 71 years old. And then he goes into what his solutions are. it's almost like a childlike thing because a kid will tell you their age going up, and an old person will tell you their age going up. In the middle, not a lot. Not a lot of people. I guess with around maybe 40s, that's when you start giving your, look, I'm 43 years old and this is what I've seen. Like, okay, I get it. I now see the reference point. They always give a reference point as to where it is that they're about to say. Look, I'm 57 years old and I will tell you this right now. All right. Thanks, man. I appreciate all that. I think the other thing that is annoying to me, that maybe there's something a little lighter in this, is scams. I would almost say that I'm fascinated by scams, but I'm not. I'm annoyed by scams. I'm fascinated by the fact that people fall for scams. If it's an elaborate scam, then I'm like, oh, okay, that was well done. But there's some that I don't understand at all. I don't get them. Like this just happened. It's the WhatsApp scams, because I'm assuming there's a scam. You'll get this weird random message from someone you don't know, and they're always very obscure type of hey, Phil, want to take a look at that property? Give me a call back. And whoever it is that's looking for Phil, how do you not know? Why are you trying to contact Phil through WhatsApp? And this is how you do business? So this is one I just got, and it's the same picture of this same woman, this Asian woman that will send you this weird picture. They're holding a cup of coffee, whatever it is. And it says, hello, Dr. Carter. My puppy is vomiting continuously. Can you make an appointment for me? Thanks. What? I don't understand this scam. Now, my wife has received these same type of messages on WhatsApp, and so she has answered. I don't answer. I get angry. I wish horrible things upon them, and then I report and block them, which gives me joy, is what it is. She answers them, and then they just want to start a conversation. So I don't know this scam. I don't know what it is, and the level, like I said, I'm not surprised by the level of stupidity the average person that falls for this. I used to, it was too mean, but it is the idea that where old people were viewed as being very fragile. And look, I can understand when things start declining for older people, but just in general, I don't, because there are a lot of old people that are sharp, and there's a lot of old people that are they've got everything about them. They're very successful, and they just operate their lives. And I can get that there's a decline and a fragility of people as you get older, but this idea that we should respect them and yet also take care of their fragility was always a conflict for me. Because I would look at it in a way of like an old rich person, like Warren Buffett. I don't even know how old Warren Buffett is, but I know he's hella old. But I know that dude is not being scammed out of his money. And whenever I see a lot of these people that are older people that are like, oh, I lost all this money. I had so much money and I lost it. And it was like the dumbest scam you'd ever possibly want to know. And my thought is always, well, I don't think you were too smart to begin with. I don't think that you were that smart to begin with. You just happened to be a person with okay intelligence that amassed some money. But so I'm still working on trying to come to terms with what it is. Because I'm in one, I don't have any money to be scammed out of. But two, I certainly hope that I would never get to that point to where somebody's like, look, if you just give me this amount of money, I'll give you all this money in this paper bag. It's more money, but I need that. Those types of weird things. The whole thing with the emails. Hey, look, I'm a Nigerian prince, but if you help me, I'm like, who's fell for that? Who fell for that in the first place that became a thing? The only way any of these things keep going is because one person had to fall for it. And then someone else fell for it, because as long as it works, someone will keep trying it. And they go, look, there's a possibility out there because it worked once. I don't know who fell for it. Who put that together in their head and goes, that makes sense. I think they're people of questionable intelligence in the first place. That's really the bottom line. And the truth is they should have been separated from their money because they weren't smart enough to have any money in the first place. Now, there are exceptions. If you, like I said, are in decline with your cognitive skills and somebody just happened to catch you at the right time, all right, that one I'll feel sorry for. But it's happened too often to believe that that's the case. Because if that's the case, then every old person needs to be taken care of. We're going to have to turn this into some sort of Logan's Run where, well, Logan's Run, they killed him, so maybe not Logan's Run. But you know what I mean. Some type of point where you get to a certain age and you're like, you know what? You can no longer take care of this stuff. You have to pass a test to show that your cognitive skills are okay. And that wouldn't be right, because it's not everybody. But I'm just saying there's a lot of dumb people that made it to a ripe old age. There, I said it. That's the bottom line, for crying out loud. So as I said, today it's a full runaround day. Do this podcast, get this all sorted out. Took a weird turn with the gun issue in the middle, but like I said, I try to make this entertaining and light. But maybe life isn't always light. How about that? Life isn't always light. I'd say put that on a t-shirt, but that'd be a horrible t-shirt. So I got to get a COVID test to be able to get onto the ship. That is scheduled for 2:30. I've got to run to a Walmart or a Target. Because once again, I've always put this on my checklist and then I don't do it when I need to do it. I have I don't even know what to be described it, kind of a thermos. Let's say it's a thermos, but it's not a thermos. You know, those cups, the cups you have that'll keep the hot and the cold. The McDLT of cups, which we used to call a thermos. Oh, remember the thermos that was a big deal when I was a kid too. To get the lunchbox. There was so much thought into the lunchbox, because that was going to be your lunchbox for the entire year. I mean, if you were lucky, you could get a lunchbox every year. Oh, there was so much excitement in the lunchbox because you had to configure it correctly. Oh, I'm going to put my chips in there, put my thermos, get my thermos that's going to keep my drink cold until I'm ready for lunch. Oh, it's got the little plastic cup on the top. Look how excited I got. I couldn't even remember what the word cup was. I got the plastic cup on the top that you unscrew. You could pour that in there. Oh, my goodness. The excitement, the joy the lunchbox had. You look at, because you have the front and the back of the lunchbox. And then sometimes you go, let me take a look at the side. Oh, look at the sides. The sides are different. The bottom, there's a different picture of whatever the cartoon character is. Oh, my goodness. Get that lunchbox. Go to school. You got to school early. You know what you do? You put your lunchbox, your lunch pail, right there in front of your homeroom class. You got them all lined up, and then you go out to play. That was an exciting time, too, is preschool recess. If you got there early enough. Like, we were always walking to school, so they were few and far between the times I could get there early enough to have. But there were many times. You get there early enough, you get to preschool recess time. Oh, that was the fun time. We're playing before school. This is a bonus recess that is taking place before school. And then you get to go to school. Get that lunchbox lined up out there out in front of the homeroom. Couldn't wait. Got your sandwich, got your chips, got your little dessert treat in there. Hmm? Something. Bam. Go out there. You're a construction worker in the 1930s is what you are. Pouring your drink into your thermos cup. Sometimes you get soup. Not a fan of that. That was a little too adult. If you had soup in the thermos, what is it? What, you had a job? You a crane worker? What are you doing? Get yourself a sweet drink in that thermos. A sweet cold drink in the thermos. Thermos was actually kind of dangerous because there was glass. There was glass inside of the thermos. You could drop that thermos, break that thermos, and guess what? No more thermos. You don't have money to be spending on replacement thermoses. Or is it thermi? I'm not sure. But you didn't have money for that. You get one thermos. You cherish that thermos. You don't break the glass that's in that thermos. That's how the stuff keeps hot or cold. Ah, good times. Good memories, good times. So good. I don't even remember why I started this story. It had nothing to do with oh, I know what it was. I got to go get the cup thermos thing. That's what I take on the ship so I can make sure that I keep my intake of water on the ship going at a steady rate. Because there are bottles of water, but the cruise ship industry, they don't want to contribute to that plastic heap that's out in the ocean. So they're now all metal bottles of water, but they cost, I'd have to pay for those, but you can just get water out of the water dispenser thing for free. And you just keep it in a thermos or mug, cup, whatever you want to call it, container. So I forgot that. I forgot to pack that. So I got to go get one of those. And, I think that was it. There may have been one other thing that I needed to pick up at the Walmart Target, but I've got my COVID test going. Oh, I know. I got to go to a Guitar Center store because I wanted to do the music piece and a different thing. I don't know if you guys are aware of the Black Quirky piece. I think it's time for that to start making it into the regular rotation of the show. And that requires music. And I've run it off my laptop, but the way the club is configured, I would not have control of it with a remote because it's behind a wall. But I can plug into the stage via the same plug that if a guitar act was on. But what I need to go is get a cord that will plug in that allows stereo to play. And they do have one here. It's in Riverdale, although isn't it in the Archies? But I believe that's what the town is here. So I will go there. It's about 6 miles away, 11 minutes away. And I'll pick that up. And then it'll be a full day of packing. I'm 1.5 pounds over, by the way. They let me go on Southwest. I'm sure they'd let me go on United, but I don't want to take any chances. But get that all packed. I'm very proud of that fact that I was only 1.5 pounds packing for a 2-week trip. But that's very impressive. So I'll do that. And then the rest of the day will be spent getting ready for tonight's show. Just fine-tuning and figuring out what the set list is going to be. Last night's set was all right. A little bit of a mess because I've not performed in over 2 weeks. And, all the new stuff I'd been working on, completely forgot some of the nuances of it. So I will correct that for the rest of the day. And that's it. Get ready to leave at 2:30 in the morning. Oh, so as I wind down, the big news I said, when I come back from the 2 weeks on the ship, I will be performing at the San Diego County Fair, or maybe it's just the San Diego Fair. I don't know what it's called. I'm going to go San Diego County Fair is what it's now called. It used to be Del Mar. I don't know, but we're going back to San Diego County Fair. And so that'll be a big deal to come back home. I don't get to perform back home that often. It's very rarely now that the West Coast Fundies is gone. So I will be there on June 24th at their Laugh Out Loud comedy night that takes place in the Turf Club at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. So I don't even know how the tickets and stuff work for that. I don't think it's a special event. I believe it's just something that's happening if you're at the fair that day. So the cost would be the admission to the fair. And come on over. The show's at 8 p.m. On that particular show, it'll be Jason Love who will be hosting the show, and myself and Andy Woodhull, who is very funny. I've worked with him recently, and I did not remember that I worked because look, I'm old. The memory's gone. It really is. It's gone. But he said, "Oh yeah, we met you back at the Las Vegas Comedy Festival," and that was, I don't even know when that was. That was 18 years ago, somewhere around that amount of time. But I watched him work, and he was very, very funny. It was delightful. So he'll be on the show, and I'll be on the show. So if you're in that area, if you want to go to the fair that day and come out and see me, I'll be there. June 24th, 8 p.m. at the Turf Club, Del Mar Fairgrounds, San Diego County Fair. I'm looking forward to that. I believe that is it. This was a weird episode. It was almost an episode that just needed to be done. And so it's done. Like I said, I've got another day here in historic Ogden, Utah. You got to call it historic so that people will know exactly what I'm dealing with. Not that there's anything wrong with it. It's a little Mayberry. I asked them last night, what year is it here? Because it don't look like 2022 here at all. There was a big car show going on. There were many streets blocked off with people just revving up cars and people coming back and looking at old cars. And they didn't even look like classic cars. They just looked like cars is what it was. And just revving them up. Hey, listen how loud this one is. And people just looked like they were having a good time just walking up and down Main Street here. And so it's a little bizarre. Everything about this place is a little bizarre. It's hot. It was 87 degrees coming into town yesterday. That was at 5 p.m., 87 degrees. And yet I could see snow. 87 and I could see snow. I didn't even know how to process that. Like I said, it's historic. These are the words you would use to describe this place. Historic, rustic. That would be another one. Quaint would be another one. All those are, come on, they're white people code words for old is what they are. It's an old town. But there's a sense of energy. There's a little vibrance that goes on here. They got whatever their little piece is. They carved their own little niche, and it works for them. And God bless them. I saw something that was very weird. There's apparently there's a company, I guess, that is called Weed Man. I saw a truck, Weed Man, and I thought, well, that's weird. And it turns out it's a lawn care thing because right next to the Weed Man, it says for your lawn care. And my only thought was that whoever created this, because they had the domain, the contact, www.weedman.com. And I thought whoever created this company really must love lawn care. Because do you know how many calls a day this dude receives for that domain in 2022? Weedman.com? Oh my God, that thing it's got to be up there with Google. Like it's got to go Google is the most valuable, and then Weedman would be the second most valuable domain if that dude were to sell it. There's no way his company is worth more than selling the Weedman domain. But that was weird that I saw that. That's what also makes me question that I don't believe it's 2022 here. So anyway, that will do it for this episode. I'll try to be lighter and funnier next episode, whenever that may be. All things Lamont Ferguson can be found at lamontferguson.com. Social media, you can follow me at TV Funny Man, just as it's spelled, T and a V, Funny Man. That's Instagram. That's the Twitter. I'm on I think it's Lamont Ferguson Comedy on Facebook. That's the fan page. There's also sometimes the Old Man is Right page on Facebook. Go and do what you need to do on that. And you can email the show at theoldmanisright@gmail.com. And get all your whatever you want to send me. I'm taking appointments for dogs that are vomiting. So if that's where you can get your appointments done there. oldmanisright@gmail.com. I truly and greatly appreciate all of you for tuning in. I would say I couldn't do it without you, but technically I really could. It just wouldn't be as entertaining and as much fun. I greatly appreciate you. I went through a lot of things here today, but some of it may have been out of line. Some of it may have just not been as well thought out. Like maybe the old people thing. Maybe I'm a little too black and white on that issue. And maybe I need to realize that old people are fragile. There's more fragility going on than normal. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. Like I said, a lot of dumb people just happen to live for a long time and amass some money. Maybe, who knows? I could be crazy. I could be wrong on a lot of these things. But listen here, you know the rule. Sometimes the old man is right. I'll see you next week.